A somber prediction that the Hurricane Dorian death toll in the Bahamas will be staggering, and government struggles with the health crisis created by the monster storm. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, September 5th, from the CMC News Center in Bridgetown. I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. As the death toll from Hurricane Dorian surpasses 20, officials in the Bahamas are sending teams into the affected islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama to store the dead. And Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands on Thursday projected that the final count of fatalities will be, in his words, staggering. Speaking on local radio, he revealed that additional morticians were being flown into the two islands to embalm the bodies that authorities have limited capacity to accommodate. Minister Sands said cooler capacity is running out and government will be acquiring more refrigerated coolers to properly store the bodies. On Wednesday night, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis reported that the official death toll had reached 20. By Thursday afternoon, it stood at least 23. Health Minister Sands said, quote, "Make no bones about it, the numbers are going to be far higher than 23. It is going to be significantly higher than that. It's just a matter of retrieving those bodies and making sure we understand how they died. It may seem as if we are splitting hairs. There are only particular people that can declare persons dead, and until such persons are declared dead, they cannot be recorded as official deaths," end quote. Asked to estimate how many people perished during a Hurricane Dorian, Sands declined to guess, but he said, quote, "I believe the number will be staggering. I have never lived through anything like this, and I don't want to live through anything like this again," end quote. Scores of people have been injured as well, and the health minister said government does not have the capacity to deal with this health crisis. It is therefore called on the World Health Organization, among other organizations, for help. Sands said 3 additional mini-hospitals will be taken into Abaco and Grand Bahama, and there will also be 50 additional doctors sent in to provide acute, long-term and psychological care. And as the task of properly storing the dead and saving the lives of the injured continue, officials are having to deal with another problem, looting. And Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has warned that those caught engaging in such criminal activity as the country tries to recover from the onslaught of Dorian will feel the full weight of the law. He said while Bahamians have been worried about their loved ones on Grand Bahama and Abaco, there have been reports of looting and other disturbances.
Bahamians are distressed that anyone would loot and further the suffering of those affected by this tragedy. This is a terrible disregard for the safety and security of others. Be warned. We will prosecute looters and other lawbreakers to the full extent of the law. We are a country of law. I have mobilized the full resources of the government for search and rescue missions in both Abaco and Grand Bahama. To reinforce security on these islands, additional police and defense force officers have already been deployed.
Prime Minister Minnis, who was speaking Wednesday night after an initial air assessment of Grand Bahama, said about 150 soldiers from the Jamaica Defense Force will also assist in maintaining safety and security in the 2 affected islands, which he said had been left with what he described as generational devastation. And despite the destruction, Prime Minister Minnis sought to assure that tourism was very much open in other islands of the archipelago, and he urged visitors to keep coming.
Let me advise the international press and potential visitors that New Providence, Paradise Island, and the other islands of the Bahamas are open to receiving tourists and guests. One of the best ways that people from around the world can show their support and solidarity with the Bahamas at this time is to visit our other islands by air or by cruise ship. To keep our economy strong, in order to help with recovery and reconstruction, we will need to keep our booming tourist economy vibrant. We must keep our economy strong and resilient in order to bring help in the rescue and recovery of those in need.
Meantime, CARICOM Chairman St. Lucia's Prime Minister Alan Chastanet and Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley were among several regional officials who held talks on Thursday in the Bahamas about relief efforts for the hurricane-hit country. Chastanet and Mottley, accompanied by CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, met with the Bahamian leader and other officials at the office of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. Prime Minister Mottley said the meeting, which also included NEMA members, was also to allow other regional leaders to get a thorough briefing of the situation in the Bahamas, including reports from the Ministry of Works, Director of Environmental Health, Ministry of Public Health, Commissioner of Police, the Bahamas Defense Force, and Department of Social Services. And as the Barbados government's efforts to raise funds for the Bahamas continues, a telethon will be held on Sunday afternoon. The monies raised will be handed over to the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA. Minister of Information, Broadcasting and Public Affairs, Senator Lucille Moore, told a press conference on Thursday that the telethon under the theme Rise Again Bahamas is being held in conjunction with all local media houses as well as the Barbados-based Caribbean Media Corporation, CMC. The island's ambassador to CARICOM, David Commission, said while the telethon was a project of Barbados, it was a demonstration of CARICOM in action and working, and he appealed to citizens to support Bahamas in its time of need.
We must support our fellow CARICOM member state of the Bahamas. 2 years ago, it was Dominica and Antigua and Barbuda. Now it is the Bahamas. Next month, it could be somebody else. Perish the thought, some year or some month, it may very well be Barbados. Who knows? But the point is, we must develop a way of thinking in the Caribbean where something touches one, it touches all. Damage is done to one, we're not going to leave any one country alone to have to face an emergency simply on its own resources, to having to rebuild simply by itself. No. Our mindset must be that we recognize our brothers and sisters. We will be our brothers and sisters keepers, and we will come to each other's assistance.
The telethon will start at 3 p.m. and run until 10 p.m. on Sunday. Coming up, we hear the heartbreaking story of a man who fought for survival for his family but lost a young son to Hurricane Dorian's raging floodwaters. Stay with us.
You guys, what makes you come to Comic-Con? What draws you down here?
It's the energy.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the people, the costumes, the kindness.
Mm-hmm. The environment, being around people who are like me, who love nerdy stuff, it's amazing.
Hey guys, it's Kara here at San Diego Comic-Con, and I am with
Beige.
Beige. All right, now is this your first time to Comic-Con?
No.
So now we're gonna add the flour in here. Okay guys, so this gotten a golden brown here now, and this is the color we're looking for. So we're gonna turn off the stove, and now we're gonna add the syrup.
Well, for the past few days, we've heard statistics about lives lost and seen videos and images of the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian in Abaco and Grand Bahama. This evening, we hear firsthand the story of a 38-year-old man who lost his young son as he tried to protect him as the family fled from house to house to escape the rushing floodwaters and high winds of Dorian in Abaco. Here's Guardian News Network's Gillian Gray.
A father recounted the terrifying moments his 5-year-old son was swept by destructive tides from the roof of a home in Murphytown, Abaco, as Hurricane Dorian crushed homes, uprooted trees, flattened churches, and buried the town he once called home in a watery grave. 38-year-old Adrian Farrington, who injured his right hand and leg during the ordeal, has been recovering at the Princess Margaret Hospital since Monday. His son, Adrian Jr., disappeared under the mounds of debris that floated on top of the water sometime on Sunday and hasn't been seen since.
I just hope they find him. I just hope they find him, because a 5-year-old in that kind of search, they don't stand much a chance.
Farrington said his family, including his wife and their 2 children, were forced to go into the catastrophic conditions after their home had become compromised. They sought refuge in a nearby home, but soon had to abandon that as well.
We had to exit that house, and we went to higher ground to a different house, which had a manhole. Take my wife, take her son and my son. I put them up inside the manhole. We were safe there for a while till the water started to enter the manhole.
He said after he and his family abandoned a 3rd home, a piece of debris sparred his leg, hampering an already chaotic and tedious journey. As his leg bled and he struggled to stay afloat, his son held tightly onto his back. Farrington said he saw a truly horrific sight.
After about an hour of treading water and bleeding, I noticed I saw some fins swimming along the houses. So I grabbed my son and I put him on top of the roof. But before I could have sit on the roof to hold him, the gust from the hurricane dragged him across the roof, back into the search on the next side. By the time I come down, try to move the breeze and get back around, I come on down and I couldn't see, so I was like feeling, see if I could feel some kind of cloth, some kind of clothes, some kind of skin, flesh, tennis, something. I find nothing. Come back up. I hold my breath and I come back down again. All this time, people carrying my wife to safety and they calling me. But I won't go because I didn't want to leave my son. Keep looking for him. I keep looking for him.
Exhausted and hopeless, Farrington said he took off again on his own, desperately trying to get to higher ground, but when he got there, he couldn't walk. Farrington said he had to crawl on his stomach towards a nearby church where about 8 to 12 people were seeking shelter.
The wall of the church was moving like when you put cloth on the line on a breezy day. So after I noticed the wall was shaking so much, I moved from a seated position to a standing position with the entrance of the door right there. And when I feel the wall pushing me, all I do is I hold on the wall and I get in the entrance of the door. And everybody else who's inside, they run to try to hold the wall. And I watch the wall and the roof crush everybody inside the church. There's a guy, I could have seen him. I tap on him, I ask him if he's okay. I ain't get no response. I didn't want to stay there, so I creeped from there.
Farrington said he also watched as a man seemed to give up on life after the cries from his family who had been trapped inside a water-filled home dried up. But he said it's the last memory of his son that keeps him up at night.
I still remember him reaching for me, calling me, "Daddy!"
Farrington, who weathered the elements for several hours until he was rescued, said no one could have prepared for the terror brought on by the killer storm.
The shelters where they send people crush people. homes where they say was safe wasn't safe.
Yeah, all right.
The school where they say is a shelter, it ain't had no shelter because the roof get blow up. What the surge didn't destroy, the winds destroyed.
And we continue to pray for our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas. In other news, Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced a state of public emergency in the parishes of Clarendon and St. Catherine. The measure, which took effect on Thursday morning, will continue for 14 days. This is the third state of public emergency to be announced in the past 6 months. There are existing states of public emergency in St. Catherine North, Westmoreland, Hanover, and St. James.
This proclamation of a state of public emergency shall remain in force unless revoked for a period of 14 days or for such longer periods, not exceeding 3 months, as both houses of Parliament may determine by a resolution supported by a 2/3 majority of the members of each house. Ladies and gentlemen, this should come as no surprise. The last time I was here, I virtually indicated that the next time that I'm at this podium declaring a state of public emergency, there would be one in the parish of Clarendon. St. Catherine is an addition to that, by virtue of the statistics and all the intelligence that we have.
Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson said the state of emergency was needed because of the escalating crime levels in the parishes. He said Clarendon has recorded 100 murders since January, while St. Catherine South has recorded 91 and St. Catherine North 66. Ahead in sport, a victory for defending CPL champions Trinbago Knight Riders in their opening match against St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. Stay with us.
As a small business owner, you have to make sure your technology is available and operational at all times. But what happens when your network crashes, your email goes down, or your user systems get a virus? You may try to fix the issue yourself, but you can end up making the problem a lot worse. At Digital Networking Solutions, we're more than just people who try to fix your computers. We monitor, maintain, and support your IT systems so that you can focus on growing your business to its fullest potential. When you sign up for one of our IT support plans, we get familiar with your IT environment beforehand, so we can manage it proactively as if it were our own. Your business deserves the best IT services available to ensure it functions to its maximum efficiency. So give us a try today. Email or call us, and we'll give you a free network assessment to determine whether now is the time for your small business to adopt Digital Networking Solutions for a smoother, more reliable network experience.
1.5 million British people visit the Caribbean, and Barbados is highly dependent on British tourism. With the exit from the European Union, the immediate effect was on the British pound. The devaluation was significant, which made it a whole lot more expensive for British citizens to travel to the Caribbean.
So you just freestyle this?
My producer, I walked in the studio, it was my birthday night. I was mad because I didn't really get to go out or nothing because, I had some stuff going on. So I didn't get to go out and party when I wanted to and stuff like that.
What stuff you had going on?
Real life problems.
Okay,
that prevented me from living the movie.
Like the way you kind of did that there, okay.
But I walked in, him and this producer, Marvell, it was Ice and Marvell, and I heard the beat.
Continuing with sports now, defending Caribbean Premier League CPL champs Trinbago Knight Riders pulled off a sensational 11-run victory over St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots in their opening thriller of the tournament in Port of Spain on Wednesday night. Sent in at the Queen's Park Oval, TKR posted a modest 152 for 7 from their 20 overs, with captain Kieron Pollard coming to the rescue after speedster Sheldon Cottrell's brace of 3 for 13 saw TKR slumping jumping to 80 for 4 after 10 overs. Pollard scored 47 from 32 deliveries, while Dinesh Ramdin and left-handed batsman James Neesham added 33 runs each. Wickets fell in big heaps in the Patriots' reply, despite a solid 47-run partnership between Evan Lewis and Kjorn Ottley. Tottering on 76 for 5 in the 14th over, Patriots were given a glimmer of hope when Fabian Allen smashed 4 sixes in a 14-ball 30 in a 36-run 6-wicket stand with Usama Mir, whose 24 came from just 10 balls and included a pair of 4s and 6s. The game was still open with 21 required from the last 2 overs, but Mohamed Hasnain conceded just 8 from the penultimate over before man of the match Nisham grabbed 2 wickets in the last over to seal the result for TKR. Meanwhile, St. Lucia Zouks captain Darren Sammy has welcomed Guyanese all-rounder Christopher Barnwell to the team, which is set to take on Guyana Amazon Warriors on Thursday evening. Barnwell was sidelined in the tournament last year following a dismal performance with the Barbados Tridents in 2017. But Sammy believes the 32-year-old has a role to play in this year's tournament.
From 2013 to 2016, Christopher Barnwell played for his native Guyana Amazon Warriors and helped him to qualify for the playoffs on all occasions. His stats were below par for a man who played cricket at the highest level. He was not drafted by the Warriors in 2017, but managed to land a stint with Barbados Tridents, which did not reap the desired success. With no part in CPL in 2018, Barnwell makes a return to the biggest party in sport. His new captain, Darren Sammy, believes Barnwell has a role to play in order for them to achieve the desired success.
Every single player in my team has a part to play in helping St. Lucia Zouks win cricket matches, and look, that's why it's the CPL, you know, and it's not an island thing. You know, it's the best players around the Caribbean looking to help whichever franchise he's at to win. And Barnwell, with the experience he has here in Guyana, who knows, he definitely, if he's in the 11, has a part to play in winning cricket matches.
Barnwell joins Andre Fletcher, Ronald Cato, Andre McCarthy, Kelly Sporus, Nitish Kumar, Keswick Williams, John Campbell, Tessar Pereira, Raheem Cornwall, Javier Royal, Krishmar Santoki, Forward Ahmed, Obed McCoy, Najim Bula Zadran, and Kavim Hodge. The Zouks and the Guyana Amazon Warriors will clash from 18 hours at the National Stadium Providence on Thursday. It will be both sides' first match for the 7th edition of the tournament.
To women's cricket now, marquee all-rounder Hayley Matthews will take no part in the series against Australia after being pulled from the West Indies women's squad for disciplinary reasons. A Cricket West Indies media release on Thursday did not outline the 21-year-old's charge, but said she breached CWI's code of conduct in an incident that took place on Wednesday. The CWI said the matter has been referred to the CWI Disciplinary Tribunal and no further comment would be made at this time. Matthews, also the side's vice-captain, is one of the leading batsmen in the world and was expected to play a key role against the powerful Australians in both the One-Day International and T20 series. The series is a crucial one for the West Indies as they currently languish in 7th on 11 points in the ICC Women's Championship, which serves as a qualifier for the 2021 World Cup. Only the top 4 gain automatic qualification. Switching sports, Trinidad and Tobago gained top honors at the recently held International Karate Caribbean Championships in Guyana. TV6's Vinod Narwani tells us more.
7 dojos under the Trinidad Karate Association sent 41 competitors, male and female, to Guyana, where they made the Twin Island nation proud. The participants took part in the International Karate Daigaku Caribbean Championships, winning a total of 151 medals. 91 were gold, 39 were silver, and 21 bronze. The ages of the karatekas ranged from 8 to 50 plus. Trinidad Karate Association Chief Instructor Dr. Nicole Lambie says most of the athletes that attended were under 18, which means they must balance their schoolwork with their training.
Although they are athletes, we have impressed upon them they must continue to progress in their schoolwork as well as uphold the dojo kun. which is the mantra of our karate do. They must be seeking perfection of character. They must be faithful. They must endeavor, respect others, and refrain from violent behavior.
Despite returning home recently, the work continues. That's because the karatekas have another tournament next month.
Our athletes will also be training for an upcoming Curacao Open, which will be held in October, as well as if we have athletes who are trying to make the national team, which is the team TTO, we must be training in order to qualify within the national trials.
The Curacao Open is not only for members of the Trinidad Karate Association, but includes athletes from other karate organizations who are on the Trinidad and Tobago national team. Vinod Narawani, TV6 Sport.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
When you think of what we went through with Hurricane Irma, you had to be able to recognize what are the things we need to do to cope with the aftermath. The psychological trauma, to me, is probably the most telling on a lot of people.
Preparedness is the key. So when people are prepared, when people have their resources in terms of how they can cope with the disaster, they're better able to be able to return to their normal life. They're better able to make decisions that are informed for themselves and for their family and then for their community. Be ready. Look, listen, and link.
Coming up on Caribbean Passport, highlights of a memorable CariFesta 14 in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. The creativity of the Caribbean and all that the region has to offer was on full display. Celebrate our Festival of Arts as we strengthen the bond between us on Caribbean Passport, the CariFesta edition, right here on this station.
To my saucepan, I'm going in with evaporated milk, sugar, some vanilla or mixed essence, and some currants or some raisins. I'm just gonna grate in a little bit of nutmeg. Now, she didn't tell me to put nutmeg, but I'm just, I'm just switching it up a little bit just to add some more flavor to this.
A recap of the day's major developments now. A prediction that the Hurricane Dorian death toll in the Bahamas will be staggering, and the government is struggling with the health crisis created by the storm. And in sport, defending CPL champions Trinbago Knight Riders pull off a victory over St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots in their opening match. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CanonNews.com. And for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.